Welcome to Mind Over Matter, the podcast where we dive deep into the human experience, break down the barriers, and explore the mind's resilience. I'm your host Ravik, and today we are tackling a topic that is often overlooked but affects so many of us. It's communication after the trauma. So, how do we find our voice after it's been silenced? How do we rebuild trust in conversations when trust itself has been shattered? Right, this kind of questions we often feel like we often get it from inside, right? So to help us navigate this crucial conversation, I have the incredible Karen Robinson with us today. So welcome to the show, Karen.
Thank you so much for hosting me today.
Lovely. So Karen, like before we start, I'll quickly love to introduce you to all of our listeners. Dear listeners, Karen is a licensed clinical social worker with 24 years of clinical experience in trauma recovery, anxiety, and depression. So she is the founder of Heal Thrive Dream, a company that is dedicated to helping women heal from trauma through therapy, coaching, and holistic resources. And what makes her work even more powerful? That she's not just an expert, she's a survivor herself and turning pain into purpose on a global scale. So, Karen, welcome to the show. I'm so excited to have you here today.
Thank you again.
Great. So, Karen, relearning communication after trauma, that is a great thing. So, many trauma survivors struggle with, expressing themselves or even believing their voice matters. So, how do you guide people through that initial fear of speaking up again?
It's a great question. You usually guide people with overcoming fear of using their voice in a very gentle, empathetic way. And so I find the most effective approach is practice. So we do a lot of role playing where I am them and they are the other person, and then we switch roles and we switch roles again. We do that a few times until they feel comfortable with the message that they want to convey. It gives them a lot more confidence. And it also, I'm able to give them feedback on the word choices, body posture, and so forth.
Ah, okay. Okay. And is there a particular moment in your journey where you felt your voice come back to life?
Are you asking if there's a particular moment?
Yeah.
Yeah, I think so, but I do think it's different for everyone, right?
Yeah.
We all have our timeline on how much we need in order to we feel better. And it also depends on how much trauma we have had. So if we had a lot of trauma, significant trauma, we call that complex trauma recovery. And that can take a little longer, and that's okay. So it's working on self-worth, working on learning how to trust ourselves again, and before we work on trusting other people, but also working on assertiveness training.
Yeah. Understood. Okay. So, the role of safety in the communication, we hear a lot about the importance of feeling safe in relationships, but what does that look like in communication?
Can you repeat the question?
I mean, the importance of feeling safe in relationship, we often
Yeah.
used to hear a lot. But what, according to you, it looks like in terms of communication?
It's an interesting question for sure. So feeling safe, physical safety, I would recommend something like self-defense training, right? Emotional safety is you have to know the other person that you're speaking with, and you got to be clear on what you need from them. You got to be clear on the goals that you need. And so I usually have this exercise I do with clients. Like I ask them the communication that you want to have. Are you having a tangible or physical request? Or are you needing emotional support? Are you needing encouragement of some way? Like being really, really clear on what you want first, and that will help you have the confidence to use the correct wording to get what you want.
Mm. Acha. Okay. Okay. So, um, and how can someone create a safe space for their own voice to emerge?
Well, I think one of the ways to create the safe space is to not have toxic people around you. So if you know of someone that's super negative, emotionally abusive, kind of mean-hearted or bring down your energy, those are the people that you don't want to spend your time with. So spending your time with high energy, that higher vibration, positive-minded people, that will help you feel more safe in your communication.
Okay. Okay. And also, like, what are some of the red flags that tell us a conversation or relationship isn't actually safe for our healing?
Yeah, there's lots of red flags usually. So there's this term called gaslighting. And gaslighting is when the other person is trying to make you feel like you're crazy or don't know what you're talking about, that you're imagining things. So if you're feeling like you're second guessing yourself all the time, or something is true, and the other person is like, what are you talking about? Like that didn't happen, but you know that it's true. That's a huge red flag that you're being manipulated or that the other person may be narcissistic or just um not very kind. So again, you want to have kind people in your circle.
Yeah, understood. Okay. Okay, that's really great. I mean, also, when we're talking about this communication, um breaking through that guilt and shame, that is also important, I believe. So, which can definitely silence people. So, how do you help your clients push past those internal barriers to communicate openly?
So is this question addressing the guilt and shame?
Yeah, guilt and shame. Yeah, I mean, how you
Yeah.
guide your clients.
Yeah. Well, one of the first things I do is I actually get them to Google what it means to have guilt and what it means to have shame. So they really understand the definition of those two terms. Because guilt is feeling a little bad when you do something you shouldn't have done. And shame is more of an ownership, like you believe that you are bad, that you are defective and unworthy, right? And so I try to get people like, are you feeling like you're just a terrible person, or did you do something that you regret? So if they did something they did regret, that's usually kind of easier to solve or work on. And it looks at having amends with somebody else, apologizing for whatever you feel that you have done wrong. And for the shame, I usually try to remind clients that the trauma that they went through is not their fault. They didn't traumatize themselves. And so if you've done nothing wrong, there's no use in feeling the shame. So I try to help them break out of the shame by stressing the point that they are worthy. No matter what has happened to them, they have value, they have worth. We work on mantras with that. We work on what's called affirmations, and we practice those over and over. Like, I am worthy. My life has value. I am recovering. I am healing. And that helps break through the shame cycle.
Mm. Understood. And like, sometime it's not just the words, like trauma changes body language, eye contact, even the way we breathe in conversation. So, how do you help people become aware of and um, shift those non-verbal signals?
Yeah. Again, I would use role plays for that.
Uh-huh.
And then I would nudge them to, work on their eye contact. I would keep giving them feedback in a gentle, supportive way. I would be encouraging. And I think when you're struggling with your nonverbals, having a coach or a therapist to work with you on that, it goes back to being assertive again. What are the cues on that? Like your posture, pay attention. Are you standing up straight? If you're feeling insecure or not sure of yourself, grounding your feet into the ground and, taking up your space. Projecting your voice is another way to show your confidence and assertiveness. Um, Claiming the personal boundaries that you need in your space. So if someone is too close, just kindly request that they take a step back and just apologize. Like, I'm sorry, I need a little more space than what you're giving me to be comfortable. It's okay to tell people you need more space.
Very true. Yeah, exactly. And like, do you believe that? Um, I mean, first I have to definitely say, like, trust is often broken after trauma, and that affects how we communicate with others and a lot of other things. So, what are some of the ways to start rebuilding that trust, both in ourselves and in others?
Yeah. Because it's true that when our trust has been violated, we really do beat ourselves up. We think that we should have been smarter in some way, or we should have seen it coming. We should have seen the flags or the signs. So the first step really is rebuilding your trust. And so the ways to rebuild your trust are, I think, writing about what happened, writing about, are there small parts that you can take responsibility for? Could you have done something differently? So looking at that piece and writing about it, but not blaming yourself for any kind of um, distress the other has done, whatever that it is that they had done to you. So working on yourself is a lot of writing, a lot of talking, getting the support you need, meditating. So you're rebuilding that self-awareness piece, right? So really focusing on being within yourself alone, getting quiet and saying like, what do I need to trust myself again? And then being quiet so you can listen to your body or your soul respond to that. And then as you're able to trust yourself, then you can start working on trusting the other.
Yeah.
Now, the other can be difficult, right? Because I would encourage you not to work on trusting someone again if they keep hurting you over and over. That doesn't make any sense. So, for example, if I have a couple in front of me and one of them is cheating on the other, I'm not going to say to the offended party, oh, you need to trust your partner if they're still cheating. Like that's never going to happen. That's not going to work. So before you can trust the other, you have to be fairly confident that they are remorseful, apologetic, and that they have committed to changing their ways. And you see proof in their behavior. Then you can start rebuilding trust. And it kind of depends on what it is that happened. So let's say it was cheating. It's easier to build trust if your partner is really open. They're like having their email open, their phone, no password that you're allowed to go in and just see what they're doing to be reassured. So that would be an example of like infidelity. Um, Violated trust if someone's been emotionally abusive is just you're watching to see if they're really changing the way that they speak to you. And then of course if they go back to their old ways, then you know that, yeah, it's not a good idea to trust this person. I've not only given them one opportunity to change, but maybe two or three, then it's time to move on. We only give our trust to people that actually earn it, deserve it and earn it. You don't have to give it to everybody.
Perfect. That's really great. And also, like, healing is often seen as as an individual journey, but communication is inherently social. So, how important is community support in reclaiming one's voice? What do you think?
I think it's a very powerful way to heal in community. And support groups or membership communities. I know I host one for women. It's important because I feel like it's collective wisdom. Like, not only are you getting the therapist's guidance, you're getting the guidance of the other participants or members. And so all that wisdom together, that collective wisdom, is really important. And then you're also getting a lot of reassurance, you're getting a lot of encouragement, support.
Yeah.
It really is a beautiful thing. And also it helps us feel not so alone when we're with other people that have gone through similar journey.
Wow, that's great. Yeah, that's really great. Lovely. Wow. So, Karen, like this conversation has been incredibly insightful and empowering. And thank you so much for sharing your wisdom and experiences with us today. So, and for anyone who is listening right now, or maybe you'll be listening sometimes later, and who is struggling to find their voice after trauma, I hope that this episode reminds you that you are not alone and healing is possible, and your words, your thoughts, your experiences definitely matter. So, if you want to connect with Karen and learn more about her work, check out Heal Thrive Dream, and you will find all the resources, coaching, and community designed to support you through your journey of healing and empowerment. And if today's episode has resonated with you, please share it with someone who needs to hear it. And do not forget to subscribe, leave a review, and let's keep these conversations going because together we can turn pain into power. And until next time, remember that your voice is your power and use it boldly, use it bravely, and never forget mind over matter. So, thank you so much.